Over the last few weeks, I've gotten to know a lot of the executive team at AcquireFi. It's amazing to me just how talented this team is, how well put together they are, how everyone fits in their role seemingly perfectly. Today, we're going to kick off a series of interviews with the executive team, and it's going to be the first time that I've gotten to talk with co-founder and CEO Jan Strandberg. Before we jump in and talk to Jan, I do want to say go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the AcquireFi channel. That's going to help you make sure that you catch all of these interviews as soon as they come out so you can dive in deeper and learn more about the AcquireFi project. Jan is a super old school crypto guy and a crypto M&A thought leader. Let's go talk to him and learn a little bit more about his thoughts on AcquireFi and M&A and crypto in general. Hey, Jan, how's it going? Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for being here. All good here.
No, it's awesome. It's really cool to get to catch up. I know it took us a few days to get this in play because of the difference in time zones. Why don't you go ahead and tell us just a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. I've been in crypto from 2011. I actually started crypto because of Marty Malm. I don't know if you know Marty Malm, but he was one of the OG Bitcoin developers and was actually working with Satoshi. Was doing quite a different consulting work for a while. Then in 2015, I actually joined Paxful. I was the third or fourth employee there. Was there for 4.5 years. Grew the company from 0 to more than 4.5 million users. And in volume-wise, $2 billion in volume. Then I quit, co-founded Yield App, which I then basically grew from nothing to $500 million AUM. And then during that time, I started to hang out with a lot of different founders, a lot of different traditional finance people, and got the idea that, hey, there's a very big need of an M&A platform like AcquireFi, because there was a lot of founders that had been in the space for a long time, and they had no way to basically exit, or they didn't know how to exit. And there was a lot of traditional finance people that wanted to get into crypto, but they had no deal flow whatsoever. So 6 months ago, I quit and started building AcquireFi, and here we are.
That's awesome. That's super cool and a great story. So in the past few months, the traditional crypto and the traditional markets and the crypto markets have both been going downhill, very much bear market conditions, crypto winter, everybody's saying. Lots of mergers and acquisitions take place in the real world and, off crypto during that time. Over the past few months, there's been a lot more talk in some recent articles about M&A heating up in the crypto space. And so really today, I just kind of want to talk with you a little bit more about that and where AcquireFi is going to fit into that. Does that sound like a good path?
Sure. Sounds good.
Absolutely. So let's talk about economic cycles first. Crypto winter, right? We knew it was coming. You warned us about it. You've written about it. What makes this crypto winter different than the last, or is it the same?
I think you have to look at the last cycle. So the 2007-2018 bull cycle was mostly run by people raising money with different PDFs, millions of dollars, and basically had no product. This time we actually had products. There was a lot of use cases. There's a lot of different things that you could actually do with your crypto, which makes this run a lot of different from the last one. If you look at the bear market itself, why it's happening is because of the Fed. Money is tightening, which means that there's less and less liquidity. If there's less and less liquidity, that means there's less and less trade volume. If there's less and less trade volume, there's actually less money in the system. And what we're seeing now is basically a normal bear market happening. I mean, we were printing a lot of money this year and last year. I think US printed more money than ever in the 40 years or 60 years. Like 40 to 60% of their whole money supply was printed last year, which was pretty crazy. People were getting quite a lot of different checks from the government, which also meant that they had more spending power.
Right.
But yeah, it's very interesting to see where this bear market is going. I think the strong will survive. But one thing that I started seeing last year was basically that counterparty risk. I don't know if you guys know about counterparty risk, but every time you have a big book, for example, you do DeFi or you do lending and borrowing, you have a counterparty risk. Uh, People were very over leveraging, like Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi, Celsius, all were lending without any collateral, which means that they had huge counterparty risks. And basically, this bull run showed that people are still quite uh, blind and not taking enough, let's say, they're not seeing the risk enough. And I think this counterparty risk was the biggest thing we learned from this bear market. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, absolutely. And that's, without saying it quite as technically and eloquently as you say it, that's something that I've been talking about a lot lately, that I feel like if we just removed all lending from the crypto space, that the cycles would be a lot less dramatic, if we just weren't over leveraging on everything. And that's really a real problem in crypto. So with the bear market going on, we've been seeing that prices for crypto companies that are trying to get into the M&A and get an exit, that those prices are falling quite a bit. Do you think that this is the right time for TradeFi companies to enter the crypto space because of that?
Yeah, I think the valuations were quite crazy last year. Like crazy, I have to say, like very crazy valuations because everything was pumped up. But you can even see it in the traditional tech stocks. Like we're seeing minus 40, minus 30% days on the stocks. And I think the valuations itself are going down. There's one company called Klarna. I don't know if you guys know about Klarna, but they had a valuation of $26 billion, and now they're valued at $6 billion. They're one of the biggest lending, let's say, platforms in traditional finance in Europe. So
Okay.
that shows also that the normal tech is taking a hit. But yeah, I think it's a very good opportunity for Web2 and traditional finance businesses to get into crypto. And we are actually seeing that with AcquireFi. The more we talk with people, the more they're like very excited. And they've been on the sidelines waiting last year, and they have a lot of money to spend at the moment to get into Web3.
That's great. Absolutely. So many M&A market analysts continue to be skeptical about traditional investors crossing over into crypto companies. What do you think is holding traditional investors back from coming into the crypto market through the M&A space?
Yeah, I think that it's just the lack of understanding, and also like there's no platform like us where you can actually see deals. So all these deals are happening under the radar, and unfortunately in crypto, you know it yourself. If you are founder, if you're advisor, if you are, let's say, promoter or influencer, you get deal flow. And if you get deal flow, you have alpha. If you have alpha, you can actually get liquidity and so forth. Unfortunately, if you coming from the traditional finance world, you probably don't have those connections. You probably have only those TradFi connections, which makes it very hard to find very good deals. And for the founders itself, like if I look 6 to 8 months back, and let's say I wanted to exit some of my other crypto companies, it would have been very hard. Like, where would I go? What would I do? I mean, M&A itself is quite new for crypto. This is something that we're trying to basically come into and be like, hey, like, let's make a platform where you can actually make deals.
Yeah, no, and you're exactly right about that. I mean, unless you are some sort of an influencer, part of a large whales group or whales club of some sort, those are the guys that get to hear about what new projects are coming out, what projects are struggling. They know more about the crypto projects than anybody. And so putting out what you guys are doing and making it easier for traditional investors to see that through the marketplace is really going to be incredible for everybody. It really is awesome.
I think I have to say here, the other part is the valuation, like valuation itself, because it's very hard. basically build these different valuations because there's no market data. If you look at traditional finance, let's say companies or let's say tech companies, it's much easier to make valuations for them because they have market data. At the moment, there's so little market data that it's very hard to evaluate these different crypto companies. And that's another thing that we're trying to basically build our own valuation tools, because there's nothing out there. Like if I would have a crypto company, I would have to go probably to these consulting companies, and even they have no idea what they're doing, which is a really problematic thing.
Absolutely. And so kind of to that point, in general, M&A infrastructure does not exist in crypto. Do you think that traditional M&A infrastructures can be brought into crypto? And how does AcquireFi plan to do that?
Well, that's a good question. I think there's some pieces that you can bring on. For example, the due diligence process, like seeing that founders are real, checking where are they located, checking their companies if they're very good or not. But for example, sending proof of funds, I don't know if you know about the traditional M&A process, but usually you have to prove before the deal happens that you have actually the funds. And that's a very hardcore process. It can take up to 2 weeks to get a proof of funds from your bank. And basically, this can be done with Web3. You can have a wallet and basically just do a simple transaction and saying like, hey, this is my wallet. I can prove it. And boom.
And then they can verify the funds right there on the blockchain. It's fantastic.
Exactly. And it's much easier. It's much easier, more transparent.
Right. And I tell you, another piece of that for me, I have a friend that does commercial real estate investments. They buy multi-tenant properties. And the one reason that he got excited about crypto and started coming in and investing in some of these projects was to learn and understand the space better, because he cannot stand the way that he has to send money around just to complete a deal. You know, it takes sometimes days to get the wire transfers from everybody to where they need to go, collecting from multiple investors, all of these things. And all of these things are extremely well simplified on the blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. And especially the escrow process itself. Right. Like you must be talking about escrow anyway, but yeah, if you're doing escrow with traditional banking, it's very it's very slow and it's very daunting. With crypto, everything's transparent, so you can see if the money is moving or not. With traditional finance, you can't even see that. You have to always call them. You have to ask for documentations and so forth. I think there's a lot of benefits with Web3 coming into M&A. Of course, if you talk about these very big deals like FTX has been doing with, for example, Liquid. Liquid is one of the biggest Japanese exchanges. But basically the process would be quite similar to, let's say, from traditional finance point of view, doing an M&A. But that's a very big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jan, listen, man, that kind of gets all of my questions out of here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with everybody, since it's one of the first times we've got you out here like this?
No, I think overall, like, keep following us, keep seeing what we do, and hopefully, like, if there's any questions or so forth, happy to answer. And maybe JC, you have other questions you want to answer just out of M&A.
Absolutely. No, yeah, no, that, like I said, that pretty well runs me out of questions there. And like you said, for people to reach out, you know, for people to learn more, you can start by liking this video, subscribing to the AcquireFi channel, just so you can keep up with updates just like this. Listen, guys, we've got a great lineup coming. We're going to talk with Brad next. And then after that, we're going to talk with Garrett and go through sort of the deal flow structure. We've got a lot of these short episodes coming up, very easy to digest and learn, and very excited to see what we can do with this project in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And join our community to learn more about us and more about also the team. But yeah, thanks, JC, for having me here. That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it was great. And guys, links are down below in the description, and watch for a lot more of these videos coming, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a great day, Jan.